Is this very versatile Makita router the right one for you? I'll tell you in this video. Welcome to my shop. I'm Andreas. I've had this Makita Router RT0700 for over 3 years now. It's been one of the first power tools that I bought for my shop, and I've used it a lot in many projects, as you can see in many videos here on my channel. It comes with a lot of different accessories, which makes it very versatile. This fitting here turns it into a trim router, so you can go along edges very easily. This fitting turns it into a plunge router, and there's also this fitting here which allows you to do angle cuts, although I have to say I haven't used this yet. There's also this little piece which is very nifty, which allows you to go along an edge of a workpiece with a router bit that doesn't have itself this stop ring here, because this brings a stop ring so you can go along the very edge of a workpiece. And there's also this parallel fence which can be fitted to this piece here, and then you can also go along the edge but further in from the edge than this one would allow you. So what's been my overall experience with this? I like that this router has so many different options because that makes it a perfect starter kit for when you start out with the shop or start out woodworking. You buy this router and you basically have a tool for all the kinds of routing that you might have to do. So you don't have to buy different pieces because everything's in the box basically. You can do trim routing, you can do plunge routing, you can go along edges, you can cut grooves or dados. That all works with the accessories that come with the bit. It's all packed into this Mac pack, which has a bag inside it, which at first I thought was, well, maybe not so great, but it turns out it's actually a good solution to store all these different pieces. It makes it very flexible, and inside the Mac pack they are well stored, and you can of course use the Mac pack just as a suitcase or as a box to carry around. There is also this little wheel which allows you to adjust the router speed. So this is very handy because that way you can avoid wood burn, which can happen if the router bit turns too fast for the speed of pushing that you do. There are also different additional accessories that don't come with the router in the first place. For example, there is one fitting for a track of a track saw, both for the Festool track saw system and the Bosch track saw system. And that is a very nice addition if you need to cut long straight cuts. I haven't had the need for that. I've just always gone along the track without that fitting, but if you're into very accurate cuts or want to make sure that the router really doesn't slip, that might be an option. By the way, all the different accessories that I introduce you to here will be linked to in the description below. Of course, there are also a couple of things that I don't like that much. One is that the dust collection in this variation here is not very good. So you see that I fitted this dust collection hood here to this fitting, but it's all very open here and not much of the dust actually gets sucked out. So I usually don't even have this fitted. I just leave it away because it doesn't help much and it's more in the way than that it helps. So this is one of the things that I don't like that much. Another one is that this lock, when you plunge in, you're supposed to lock this. You really have to push this hard and still it sometimes flips open while you're going. So you really have to make sure that you keep it steady and that you push it in very hard. Otherwise it might just snap open on you and then the router might plunge out. It's not that much of a problem because we have these depth stops here. They're these usual revolver stops that have different heights, and the fine tuning can be done with this screw here. So if you just adjust the revolver so that you can plunge in all the way, you can just keep the pressure down, and then it doesn't matter that much if this unlocks because you can just pressure it down and it won't snap out of the workpiece. Another thing that's not that great is this parallel fence that comes with the router. It's very simple, very basic and not very accurate, but there are affordable options to extend that. Makita actually sells two different parallel fences and one of them costs about twice as much as the other. This is the cheaper option, but this comes with two 10mm rods which don't fit in here. So you might think you'd have to get the other one, which costs about 80 euros, and this is about 38. But it's very easy to just get two 8mm aluminum or steel rods, and they fit perfectly in here, and then this fits in here. So with just a couple of euros extra, you can use the cheaper option, which is this one. And still have a great parallel fence for this router. This one, as you can see, has a much larger surface where to go along the edge of the workpiece, and you have that fine-tuning screw here so that you really can adjust the depth of the router bit very finely. Another very small issue is that the mechanism for unlocking the bit is supposed to be this red button here, and you're supposed to push this in and then it fixes the shaft so that you can open the screw here. I don't find this very handy to do because you really have to push in hard and then it's easy to slip out and then the screw will not unscrew because the shaft will turn. But there is a very easy fix because you get these two spanners with the whole thing, and then there is a very simple technique of actually unscrewing the bit, and that makes it unnecessary to use this red button here. Overall, I'm very pleased with this machine. I use it all the time. I've used it on many projects. It has never let me down, and I really have to say it's a great router for the first router that you get, because you get so many different options and you can do so many different things with it. It's probably not so much suited to be built into a router table because it has not very much space to be put up and down. I think it's 40 millimeters that you can plunge in and out, which usually is too little for use in a router table. And it also has only about 700 watts, which is not that much for use in a router table. Apart from that, I can really recommend it. It's a great machine to start out with. Even now, after 3 years, I do all the routing that I need to do with it, and I've never come across a situation in which I couldn't make it work to the purpose that I needed it to. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you did, I'd appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up, if you share it with a friend, or if you leave me a comment. You'll also find all the different links to the machine and the accessories in the description below. If it's your first time here and you like what you just saw, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me and you won't miss any videos. I usually post one every second Sunday morning, European time. So I hope to see you back soon, and as always, remember to watch, learn, and then make something.